Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on another episode of She Constructs. I'm here today with my friend Lisa. Lisa and I sit on a cool chair, not a chair, a board, or a council, I guess is actually what it is, together. And that's how I met her. So hello, Lisa. Welcome.
Paula, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on She Constructs today. And I remember actually in our first Her Power Council meeting, I was so excited when I heard about what you do and you listened to your introduction. And I remember making a note to reach out to you to connect outside of the council. So being here today, speaking with your audience is an absolute honor.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit of background about me. I'm a
Mhm.
leadership coach and consultant, and I like to think of myself as promoting leadership to achieve life goals. So, for over 10 years now, I have coached people in all aspects of life, including business leaders with business strategy and team performance improvement goals, as well as individuals with career related or life goals. And as a coach, my focus is to support my clients' growth for increased self awareness to realize their maximum potential for success in business and in life. So, through my business, LMC, Leadership and Coaching, I have developed a 3-step approach to supporting clients. And the first step is coaching clarity for focus and purpose. And next is creating action with transparency of intentions while being mindful of potential obstacles, because there's always obstacles in our goal progress.
Mhm.
And lastly, through accountability of performance for sustainable growth and success. And I find it's the last step that is most important and often overlooked when we are trying to achieve our goals, that accountability piece. And that's what we really, I think coaching really helps with.
That's awesome. Lisa, what led you to where you are in your career? And then what kind of training have you been taking for it?
So this is going back a few years, but I remember when I was in the business program at the University of Windsor, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do after graduating. That to me was an unknown. I knew I was told I had to go to university and had to do some type of schooling, but I didn't know how do you apply this afterwards. And I was fortunate right out of school, I was hired into a finance team for a North American company. And it was a really great opportunity to learn, but I didn't love it. And I felt like I was still searching for my passion. And after 10 years in the role, I knew I wanted to follow my passion into a training or teacher role. So I applied and was actually accepted into the teachers program at the University of Windsor. And I remember sharing this with the information with the company I was with. And I told them I was planning to leave. And actually, through advocating for myself, it turned out that the company was looking to take a turn and grow a position in training and development. And they asked me to stay on, and they offered me a position of manager of training and development, which perfectly aligned with my
Oh,
goals and my passion. So I was given a really great opportunity to pioneer a role. It was both challenging and rewarding, and I really worked diligently over the past 7, 8 years to shift a culture that had been built over 100 years. So it was quite a challenge, but very rewarding.
yeah, that's very inspiring when it's like you take the initiative to do something that you feel inside is the right thing to do. And then when you go and you speak to your employer about it, about the changes that you're making, they actually end up embracing those changes and want to utilize those new skills. And that's incredible because I think sometimes that doesn't happen. And I don't think sometimes, I think probably most of the time, people just follow their goals and follow their hearts and they leave their employer maybe in the dark and they just leave. And in hindsight, perhaps that employer could have utilized those skills, right? Like yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Actually, that's one of the things that I coach the most with uh, all different people because it comes down to our happiness and what we want in life and is finding what that passion is and aligning it with our goals. So it's having those conversations and advocating for ourselves to have those conversations, which is very scary. And I remember in that conversation, it was my first time I was really advocating for myself. And I was sweating buckets. I'm sure I was stuttering. I was so nervous, but seeing the results and the transformation that took place after that, it really supported the importance of it. And that's what I really focus on when I'm coaching people is when we're going for our goals, we have to have those conversations, which can be difficult and scary, but learning an approach on how to have them effectively is really necessary. And that's where I feel I can really help my clients, because I have a lot of certifications and accreditation that has supported my learning in that area. So just a little bit of background, I have a certification in Fierce Conversations, which is focused on leadership skills and how to have those difficult conversations, the ones that we tend to avoid and maybe not have great success with because we don't know the proper approach on how to have those difficult conversations. And I also gained accreditation in Harrison assessments to effectively debrief and coach employees using their amazing behavioral assessment tool. And this tool is so helpful, Paula. It is, I think, the best one out of all of the behavioral personality tests out there that I've been exposed to. And it really focuses on promoting self-awareness and personal growth.
I think that those are incredible things to know that you have, because I feel like during this time and this environment within the pandemic, there's so many of us who don't feel like ourselves. We don't feel like we have a defined path right now, or we're just kind of floating through and every day feels exactly the same because we're in Ontario, we're in a lockdown. So if you're working from home, you're working from home, you're moving from your desk to your couch, there's kind of no direction. And I feel like people are just kind of like unsure about what next year is going to look like, 6 months is going to look like, 3 years is going to look like. What do you tell me, what do you think we can do about that? Or what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny you say that we're doing the same things over. So my husband and I joke that it's like Groundhog Day, because it does feel like we're not leaving these walls that we're contained in, and we're just doing the same. We're going in the motions. We're doing the motions, but we're not feeling the passion. So over the past year, we have seen an unprecedented amount of change. And I think as humans, we function best when we have a routine because we are creatures of habit, but we also crave community, which really provides us with a sense of belonging, connection, and identity. And I think that's the piece that we're missing. So with the pandemic and lockdown restrictions, our sense of community has been taken away from us for an extended period of time. And I think for most people, we long for the pre-pandemic state of being able to socialize without restrictions, go to weddings, go to schools, go to events, and just be together. And I know the people that I coach who identify as extroverts and needing that social interaction, this has been a very difficult time for them. And their emotional well-being has really, really suffered from the environment that we're in. And I think we all feel a little lost, exhausted, angry, and stressed out from the environment. And I unfortunately I don't know that we know what that the future is going to hold. And if I dare say, I don't know that we will return to that pre-pandemic state, at least not anytime soon. So for a lot of people, that's really scary because it's learning how to do things differently and finding a new normal. So it's understanding our emotions around what we're facing right now, and then finding a path forward and how dealing with the emotions that we have so that we can embrace this new environment and actually look forward to change. So personally, over the past year, my husband and I, we've seen an extreme change. So just to give you a snippet of what our future or our past looked like in the past year, We were both laid off from work within a week of the pandemic being declared. I was let go from my job 2 months
Mhm.
later. And then our son, who is training to be a Green Beret, was severely injured and we couldn't go see him. So all of this happened in addition to managing the lockdown restrictions and fear of catching COVID, right? So
Right.
as a leadership coach, helping people to manage change, uncertainty, and fear, I was now in the position where I had to put my own teachings into practice with myself. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy. It wasn't. And I fully admit it. There were days I did not want to get out of bed and interact with my own family. So I knew I couldn't stay in that unhealthy state. And I had to reframe my perspective and look at my circumstances that we were facing as an opportunity. And I realized at that point that, this is a great opportunity. I've always wanted to start my own leadership and consulting business, and now's the time. So let's do that. And I first had to work on rebuilding my confidence. That was destroyed when I lost my job
Mhm.
because it's how I identified myself was through my job. And I also had to promote the self-compassion, self-care piece that I teach others to myself. But now I feel like I'm living proof of walking the talk as a leadership coach because I've been there and I've gone through those experiences. I know how difficult they are, but you can come out on the other side even better than going in. It's that building that resilience to realize we can deal with whatever we are faced with the proper support, with the proper mindset, and allowing ourselves to grieve that process of going through what we're going through, but better times
That's
can come.
that's so true, Lisa. And I'm so excited because what many of you don't know yet is that Lisa is going to be running a couple of sessions for She Constructs just around all these things that she's been talking about. And I would love for you to go to the website and check it out. It's www.sheconstructs.ca. You can register. Right now it is April and she will be running these courses in May and June, but my relationship with Lisa is pretty good. So if they're great, then we will be probably running them again. So please do check on the website and subscribe to our newsletter. Lisa, I appreciate you coming on today. I'm so grateful. I always like to ask my guests before we part, what is the best piece of advice or the worst piece of advice you've ever been given?
So this one's really difficult because I don't know that I have one piece of great advice, and I've been given some really great advice over my career, but I think that the one that's most relevant to our discussion and the webinars that we're going to be putting on is that we need to create boundaries and be able to say no. Learn to say no. So I realized that I was that people pleaser and always wanting to do more to help people, but it was really when I was taking on other people's priorities, it was hijacking my time. So I learned I wasn't comfortable saying no right away. I had to learn to say not right now and letting them know what was going on with my world. And then I learned to do that and I got better at saying no. And I find that really helped me with my time management as well as building stronger relationships because I was no longer resentful of other people hijacking my time. So that was the good piece of advice. Now, the worst piece of advice, I don't know that I really have a worst piece of advice, but I can tell you one area that um, I think would be helpful for people is learning to own our own emotions. So I remember being told that I was too sensitive or you shouldn't be angry. And through my own coaching, training, and experiences, I've learned that my emotions are mine to own and it's
Mhm.
not for anyone else to tell me how I should feel or think. So when our emotions are minimized, we tend to say things like, you made me mad or you made me sad, and we don't own our emotions. So I help people to reframe taking that power back and saying, I am angry and I am sad. So when we take back our own emotions and not blame other people for how we're feeling, I think there's a lot of power in that. And that really helps us to build our confidence and self-worth And really, it leads into having more healthy and happy relationships. So I know that's probably more than what you're asking for, but
No, those are great.
I hope that's
I
really
think
useful for your audience.
I think those are great things. Learn how to set your boundaries first, yeah, by saying not right now and getting comfortable with that and saying no. And that as on top of owning your own emotions and saying, I am upset, I am frustrated. I think both those things builds better relationships. You're right on. And I'm so looking forward to these courses, these sessions that you're going to do with us, because I think a lot of us could have a different mindset and have an opener, is that a word? Have a better view of, you know, of how relationships can be and how we can manage these times and how we can kind of self-reflect and make things better. So I am grateful to have you on the show today, Lisa. I am grateful for the upcoming events that we're going to be having. And I just want to say thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Paula, so much for having me. I'm so excited that you gave me this opportunity to speak with your audience, and I'm really looking forward to the webinars that we're going to do together. So thank you.
I am too. I am too. Everybody go and check the website, www.sheconstructs.ca. You can find out some more information about Lisa on there, and you can register for those events. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.